everybody, it's Chris. I am back to do another painting with you. And so I've mentioned that I went to a retreat that was really cool and did so many different techniques, kind of focused around piggies, but you don't have to have piggies to do this particular paint style. We're gonna do a swipe today. And this is kind of a great technique to use if you want cells, because it's kind of a pretty simple one to do. It's not as technical as the bloom because you don't have to blow just right. And, you know, I mean, there's obviously a technique to it, but I feel like it's an easier way to get a little bit more control over what you're doing too. So we are going to work on, I'm kind of impressed with myself to come up with this, to tell you the truth. This is a tabletop from IKEA for their, it is called I think it's a lac table. So on the back side is where the legs screw into. Yeah, lac, L-A-C-K. I think it is like 23 and a half inches square, so almost a 24-inch canvas. We're going to use it as a canvas, and this is a really, really inexpensive cradled panel, if you ask me. I think I checked the price on them now. They're $17. And if you're creative, you could probably figure out something to do with the legs that come with it too. But this particular one was black, and it has a pretty slick surface on it. I took just my sanding sponge and kind of went around and roughed it up, if you will, and then just wiped it down with some Windex. I'm hoping that the paint sticks to it okay. My concern was that if it was too slick, it may not stick very well. So that's why I went ahead and kind of roughed it up a bit. And we are going to use a black base. So I have some tricorn black from Sherwin-Williams, color to go. And I have kind of checked it. It's a little bit old, so I put just a tiny bit of water in it, because this one we're actually going to tilt to get our paints to flow and go in the direction that we want. My thought is that we'll do the black, and then I'm going to do stripes of color, swipe through them. I'm thinking we keep the composition kind of close to the center so that we don't tip off all the really cool stuff. I'm using a combination of paints and piggies, and then we are going to swipe with a swiping tool. We're going to start with this one, and then I'm going to come in with a smaller one. I'm hoping to go one direction with the big one, and then perhaps a different direction with the small one. I'm seeing cat hairs popping up everywhere on this surface. So that's kind of my thought behind the design of it. We are going to use, well, I'll just call out my colors as I do it, okay? Because I don't want to get everything all confused. So let's start by putting down our base of black. And hopefully we don't have any big chunks. That's preferable anyway, that we don't have big chunks. I'm not sure, this might be a little too thick for what we want to do. Kind of feel like it is. I've got my paint down, and I've kind of spread it out a bit, and then we're going to start laying down some colors here. I think I kind of want two different areas, so let's start by laying this down here, and I want this wide enough so that my spatula goes through it but still leaves me a little bit of space on either side so that I can kind of do something else with it. And then let's go this way with this. Okay. This was Artist Loft Metallic Cobalt. This is Amsterdam Pearl Violet. And this is an interference color. Look at it against that black. It's gonna be cool. Okay. And next is Sea Glass. It's another piggy. This is beautiful green color. It's kind of, when I chose the colors, I tried to pick something really vibrant and something that would pop against the black. So I didn't want to go super pastel-y because I don't want it to get lost. And this swatch up here probably doesn't need to be quite as wide or as big as the bottom one because that's kind of our focal. And then I'm thinking, this is Persephone. Isn't she a beauty? Love this one. Okay, and I'm gonna go a little bit wider with that. I'm hoping I'm not too close to my edge. I'm gonna be really sad if I am. But we're gonna make it work. All right, and then next is Soho Mineral Blue. In fact, let's kind of work our way over a bit. I'm thinking, can we curve this guy a little bit more this way? All right, and then we have Glisten, which is another piggy that's an interference. It kind of has a bluish tint to it, I would say. And we'll add some up here. And then next is Artist Loft Deep Magenta. This is another one of my favorites. All right, and then finally is Golden Peach, another piggy. And this one is kind of a little bit of a, I don't know, kind of a wow, I think. Doesn't necessarily go with the other colors I chose, I don't think. I think it's kind of a little bit of a surprise, but I think it's gonna be really pretty. And then we are going to swipe with two different cell activators. The first one is the Tri-Art White. The Tri-Art White will give you bigger, juicier cells. And then we're also going to use Amsterdam White, which is going to give us the lacing that we love. So I'm also going to add some Prism Violet, which is another paint, on top of that so that we get some of that violet going through the through our painting. So I'm gonna load up our palette knife with the Tri-Art first. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put this on here and then use a little scraper, and I'm just gonna kind of zhuzh this around on the palette knife so that she's nicely coated. And then I'm going to come back and put on some of the purple. So I'm going to add some of the Prism Violet to it on the top. And I will show you what that looks like, but I'm trying not to drip over everything, which is not easy. Okay, so here's what our loaded palette knife looks like. So I'm going to start down here at the bottom, and I'm just going to go ahead and flow up into our colors and drag it across the surface like so. Okay. Look at those cells. Okay, I don't want to waste this, and so we're just gonna wipe it off up here at the corner. And then I'm gonna wipe it on my pad down here. And I wanna do this swipe, and then I will come back in with a smaller knife, and we'll kind of finish it up. So again, cell activator on the knife. And then I'm going to add the Prism Violet on top of that. And there's our loaded knife. Oh my goodness, look at those cells. I'm so excited. Okay, and we're gonna start here. And we're just gonna pull it down. And gently lift. And we should get the cells all the way to the bottom. And again, I'm just going to go ahead and zhuzh that onto our canvas. Okay, so that is the Tri-Art white. Now, something that I like to do so that I don't have this harsh line, I'm going to blow this out just a bit. Because I kind of like the cell activator in with just the background paint. All right, so that, like I said, that's gonna give us some of the bigger cells. We're not gonna worry so much about this because it's probably gonna be tipped off. Sometimes the tails are not the prettiest parts. I wanna come back in though with my Amsterdam white and I'm just gonna dip my palette knife into the Amsterdam white. And I want to, let's see, let's go this way with this. So this will give us some smaller cells. And I'm thinking, I don't love what I did here. So let's do this just to kind of clean up that tail a little. Just kind of blowing down through those big areas of cell activator. And then I think I want to blow this top up here. So that we don't have a harsh line. And then I'm going to come out with this right here. And then right here. This is going to turn out really amazing when we start tilting. I think I kind of love these little ribbons, so I think we'll let those go. And I think we should add just a little bit of black around the edges of it, and then let's see what we get when we start to tilt it. I love the addition of a color with the cell activator because that gave us that really beautiful purple throughout too. I was going to add a purple and then I thought, no, we can do that by adding it to the swipe. All right, so I'm going to take my black here and add a little bit around the edge here. Again, kind of making sure that my corners are happy. And just making sure that we've got nice coverage. And I may just use my gloves and kind of go out to the corners real quick with my fingers. So here we go. Thinking we'll go for the empty corners first. Maybe go up this way a little bit. I don't want to do drastic tilting because I don't really want to lose my cells. So I just kind of want to get my paint going that way. And hopefully you're able to see all of this. So just kind of doing a gentle tilt to go down over our edge. Stretching out those cells. And I want to go over that corner without dumping up off all the cool stuff. And then I'm going to come back. And we're going to stretch this out. Sorry if the ring light is reflecting, but it's kind of a necessary evil. Since I have the paint down here, I want to go off this other corner. Like that. And then we're going to let it gently come back down. Now is where we're going to get rid of some of the stuff we have down here on the bottom that we don't love. And we do need to go off on this right side as well. All right, now I just want to take it back up. We do need to go off on the sides a little bit. I'm going to set this down because it's actually quite heavy. Okay, the ends are looking pretty good. We definitely need to go off each side of it though. So let's see here. Let's turn this a bit. She's getting a little slippery. And then let's see if we can't go off that end. Without losing all of our really nice stuff. Just kind of need her to go off the edge and get things flowing. We do have a really lovely edge here. So let's see if I can turn it and maybe we can dump it off of this corner. A little different angle going here. Kind of using the little notches for the legs on the back. Just gonna watch that corner down there and see if we can stretch it out a bit. Without losing the really amazing stuff we have going. And I know I've got quite a bit of paint on here, so I'd like to get rid of a little bit more down there on that corner. And it's not the prettiest corner. Okay. I'm going to take it back a bit. Kind of level it out. I really love this one side of it, and I'm thinking maybe we let that kind of go off down there. Okay. Oh, I'm kind of digging that. a lot. Okay, so let me get my gloves off. What do you guys think? Like it? Is it too weird? It's not really very bright. I can see my brother liking this one actually. The sides are amazing because our cells and our colors went right over the sides to cover. Hopefully she dries really well. I did have a chunk somewhere over here. Now I'm not seeing it. I am going to use my torch though and see if I can't get rid of some of these little air bubbles, which is kind of the downside of mixing up paint and shaking it and trying to get everything mixed together. So let me see if I can't get rid of some of our little bubbles here. In the black paint anyway. Wow. Okay guys, that's pretty doggone amazing, I have to say. I like it. Okay, so I think you guys can do a swipe. You can see that we got some really big cells. We've got some really bullseye cells, I would say, where they're inside each other, or chameleon cells. Love the prism violet. Love the gold we have going throughout. I think the gold came from, well, I think it came from Crescendo as well as Golden Peach. Our peach is not as defined, like this is some of our peach here, but I really think it blended nicely and I can still see some things coming up through, so super cool. All right, so hopefully she dries well. I'm gonna take some close-ups for you. Please let me know if you have any questions at all. Again, you don't have to have pigments to do this. You could use all metallic paints if you love the metallic sparkle of things. You can use just regular paints. It doesn't have to have shimmer and sparkle. I happen to love everything sparkly and shimmery. But use what you have, but do try a swipe. Maybe try adding an extra color on top of your cell activator. The cell activator we used was Floetrol, Australian Floetrol, and Tri-Art white, titanium white, and then we used Amsterdam white. And it's about 2 parts Floetrol to 1 part paint. The Australian Floetrol is really what makes the magic in this though, because that's what creates these really cool cells. But I hope that you give it a try. If you do, let me know, okay? If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.